and gentlemen, welcome back to the series. Um, this is the last episode for this series. Yeah, 8 episodes in, a lot has been done. Um, and it has all now come down to this. So this is the last portion that will be needed for your project, and it involves the cut and fill calculations. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do all of that. And yeah, actually, while we will be at it, there's a few other things I will show you that you can input to your work. And yeah, so I don't want to lie and say this will be a lengthy one, but it will probably be one of those. So let me not let me not overstate that, and let's just get on with our final episode. So, cut and fill. So, what you're looking at right now, this is your corridor of your roundabout. My cursor is not moving, but I'll carry on explaining. What you're seeing on your screen right now is corridors. So what will happen is we're gonna be doing the following. We will be converting our redesigned road corridor into a corridor surface. I did briefly mention it in the previous episode when talking about the roundabout. So that's what we'll be doing in this episode. And then we'll be creating sample lines. So I'm not sure if you there we go. There's a bit of movement. So as you can see here, okay, they're not there. I've removed them while practicing. So there'll be sample lines created. So those will be needed to compute your materials. And yeah, we can create, or you can also generate section views from those sample lines. I'll show you that as well. So that's one of the things I've missed um, throughout the series. And then we'll create a volume surface where we'll compare the ground level to redesign, and from that point we'll calculate our total volume and see the cut and fill um, comparison. So let's get started. And what we're gonna do first is create some sample lines. So again, we'll be working with this corridor over here, which is our redesign. So how you're gonna produce that is you're gonna go to your home tab. Let me just okay. So home tab, and then where there's the profile and section view section, too many sections. Um, there's a sample lines um, option. You're gonna click on it, and then it'll ask you to select an alignment or press enter to select from list. I usually just select from the drawing. It's much quicker that way. So you're gonna select it, and then you'll get okay. I never dialog box. Why? But what you will get is something like this. So you'll see it says create new sample line group. So this way you can change the name of your sample line. Also, I'll say Sandy's SL just so I separate it. So Sandy's sample line, and then sample line styles and label styles and all the likes you can leave as is. So you don't need to change any of it. And then alignment, so this is the alignment you've just chosen. And right at the bottom, you'll see it says select data sources. So yeah, you are more than welcome to leave these as is, and then you click on OK. Now once that's done, you'll see as you go over your drawing or your alignment, you'll see that there's this red line moving around. That's where you can actually click and place your sample lines. Now we could do this manually, but I suggest you do this for a station range, especially if you want to be calculating your um, cut and fill. Station ranges or your sample lines at a certain station range placed at a particular interval, it does give like a bit of variance to your cut and fill. So how you'll do that is I clicked this button prior to show you that group creation. Just right next to it, you will see this icon right here. It says sample line creation methods. You're gonna click on the drop down, and then you'll see these options. You're gonna select the first one, which is by range of stations. So you'll click that, and then you'll get this dialog box. Now this is where you're gonna be changing some parameters. So you have the general, which shows your alignment, the station range. So from start and to end, you can leave these at true. Now left swath width, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Right swath width. The default is 20. I put 30 because some of my data was really wide, so you couldn't see some of the sample lines. But I'll go back to standard procedure and hit 20. This is just basically the length of your sample line. So you will see that actually I'm gonna make one of them 50 and show you what I mean. And then right here at the bottom, so this way now you're gonna be spacing out your sample lines. So sampling increments. Your sampling increments will be on true, increment relative to the absolute station, so you can leave this as is. Now, your increment along tangents, so your straight lines. What's your spacing between your sample lines on tangents? So recommended was 200 for you guys. I'm not sure if that's still the case, but um I'll say 250 for the sake of this video. But if anything changes, please do um comply with that. So I'm applying this interval to tangents, curves, and spirals. We don't have any spirals, but we are gonna apply that. And then lastly, the option of additional sample controls. Now, this is where you can set where you want your sample lines to appear. So, do you want them to appear at the range start? If you want it there, you select true by clicking the drop down. If you want range end, you do the same thing. If you want sample lines at your horizontal geometric points, like your beginning of curves, your PI, your end of curves, you can then again change that to true. And then again, if you want sample lines generated at super elevation critical stations, you're more than welcome. I want to leave this at false. Um, then select, yeah, and leave the rest at true. So once you're happy, you're gonna click on OK. And once you click on OK, your sample lines will automatically be created. So you'll see when they refer to swath or swat width, this is what they mean. So you'll see the left side is slightly shorter. The cursor is not moving again. But you'll see this blue line right here. Still, you still can't see my cursor. But where the cursor is basically, there is a blue line crossing the corridor. The longer side, that's the right hand side. So you see the width is longer compared to, or wider rather, compared to the left side. So once you're happy with that, you can just go ahead and click on this X or exit. My goodness. And you'll see that the sample lines now generate some changes. So you'll see changes. So these will appear for every single sample line. This just to show you where they lie. So again, you have because you selected sample lines at specific geometric points, they will appear as they are. So these are your sample lines done. And what you can do with these sample lines are two things. One, which is compute materials, which we'll get into very quickly. And then two, you can create some section views. So section views are basically cutting your road at that line and seeing the cross section. So you have the option to create one section view or multiple. I'm gonna show you how to do that. So you're gonna go to section views. You go to section views, and then so again there are these options here. You can create multiple views, or you can create a single section view. So I'll start with this one. So create a section view. So under general, you have the alignment name, the sample group, and sample line. So if you click on the drop down here, so these are the sample lines that have been generated, that you have generated. So you can choose which one you want to appear. Let's say you can also click on this green box to select on the drawing specifically which one you want to show. I'm more interested in viewing which one. I'm more interested in viewing this one over here. So this is, I believe, this is the beginning of the curve. Okay, so you can select this station. You're gonna give it a name, and then once you're happy, you click on next down here below, and then offset range. Offset range, it takes this based on your sample line swath or swat width. So you can leave this, or you can use a user specific. I'm gonna say 20 and 20 for both sides, and then we'll say next. And then elevation range, you can leave this as is as well. And then section display options. So these are the corridors that you wish to display within that section view. So I'll leave all of these text because only one of them appears. The roundabout corridor is not visible on here. So you can say next, data bands, you can leave as is, and once you're happy, you click on create section view. And then you're gonna go and click on the section of the drawing where you want to place your section view. Let's say I want mine here. And then as you'll see, this is our one section view. So as you can see, our road lies pretty much below our ground line. So this line right here, there's your ground line, and then right below this is our cross section of our road. So yeah, this is how you generate some section views. The procedure is the same if you were to create multiple, so it'll display all your section views at once. So I'm actually gonna fly through it. So back here on section views, so you create multiple views, and then the dialog box is nothing too different. So okay, let's give it time. So again, alignment. So under general alignment, your sample line group, station range, leave this at automatic. So this is one of the few differences here. So this is the station range for the whole alignment. So it's actually showing all the section views at all the sample lines within that alignment. There we go. And then section name, yada yada yada, the section view style. Then you click on next. Right here on section placement. So this just shows you how your section views are gonna be plotted. You can leave it as production, you can have it as a draft. So this is the preview of how it would look. And then once you're happy, you just click on next. And then again, offset range is more, it's still the same. Elevation range is still the same. You can leave it automatic. And then section display range, you can switch off, let's say the roundabout if you don't want to see that. And then once you are happy, you click on next again. Data bands again, you don't need to change. You click on create. And then you then specify where you want to place your section views. And this one will create every single uh, section view for all the sample lines that you've created, and you'll see that they span out to the right. So yeah, this is still loading. There we go. So yeah, because we used the automatic option for the width, so you see it shows. So this is the 0 point. So this is the center line. Sorry, which one can I show? This one, yes. So you'll see this is the center line, and then 20 meters going to the left, 50 going to the right. This is not ideal. You're better off having something symmetrical. So just ensure that when you're creating your sample lines, the swath or the swat widths are the same. So if you're using 20, use 20 on both sides. If you're using 50, use 50 on both sides. So yeah, that is it for the sample lines and the section views. Now we need to create our corridor surface. So now we are getting to the procedure of um, determining our cut and fill. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna select your corridor, right? You're gonna not create. You're gonna select your corridor, and then you're gonna go to your corridor properties on top here. So you're gonna click there, and then so what you're gonna do is I'm gonna delete this actually. Give me a second. Right. So you'll get something like this, which will be blank. Okay. So what you do is just make sure you're under surfaces when you do this. And then what you'll do is you'll add a corridor. So on this icon right here, the very first one, it says create a corridor surface. Okay. Then you click, then you'll get this. And then next you need to add some data to this. So okay, what I want to do is change the name of this. You can't change the name. So I'll say redes. Oh my goodness, why is it not changing? Redesign. Yeah, I'll leave it redesign. And then you need to add some data. So make sure it's on links. The data type is on links. And then specify code you can leave on top and click on the green plus icon. Once that's done, you're gonna go to your boundaries option. So right next to surfaces, boundaries, you have your redesign surface name. You're gonna right click on it and you're gonna go to add automatically. And then what you're gonna look for is your daylight. So you're gonna select that. And once that's done, you just click on apply, rebuild your corridor, and then let Civil 3D do its thing, and you click on OK. So once that is done, um, your corridor will look slightly different than what you're used to. So this is what it will look like afterwards. So this has now been turned into a surface. So yes, so that means this has its own surface style and all the likes. So this is what your corridor will look like or should look like after doing this step. So once that's done, we are then gonna create our volume surface. Okay. So what you're gonna do is on top here on these options, you're gonna go to analyze, and then you're gonna go here to your volumes dashboard. You're gonna click. So this is where you're gonna see your cut and fill comparisons. You see nothing here because you have not created any surface or volume surface. So how you'll get that is there's this small icon up here. So it should say create new volume surface. You click, and then so this option is very similar to creating a standard surface with the exception of this option down here. So you can rename this. I'm gonna say cut fill underscore, and then okay, can leave this as is. And then under your volume surfaces, so you have two types of surfaces that are needed for your volume surface. You need a base and you need a comparison. Now your base is your original, which is your ground line, right? The area that you're working with. So what you'll do is you just click on here, you click on the three dots, you select the natural ground line surface, then you want to click on OK. Same applies with your comparison surface. Comparison surface is your corridor surface. So the surface that contains your road. That is the one that you're gonna be using. So that's my redesign surface. And then cut and fill factors, I don't think you were given these, so I'm just gonna leave these blank. So if there was any further explanation or indication as to what factors you should use, then this is where you would um, change those values. Once you're happy, you can click on OK. And then once that's done, you'll see that uh, we have some substance over here. So we have a lot more cut and a lot less fill. So what you'll see also here on this table, you'll see the name of your volume surface. If you scroll to your right, you'll see the factors, the style used, the 2D area, and then this would be the cut adjusted, and then the fill adjusted, and then this is the net. So again, the values also show here so you can see what exactly is happening. So you can exit that. So once that's done, we now need to compute our materials list. So the second thing that you can do with your sample lines, we've done the first, which is our section views. The second is your compute materials. How much time do you have left? I can't see a thing. Okay, you've got 10 minutes. Right. So you're gonna go to this track right here, which says compute materials. Or you can just go to your command box right here below and just type compute. My goodness. Yeah, so compute materials, this is what you're looking for. You're gonna click. So then it will ask you to select a sample line group. Remember that sample line group will be tied to your alignment. So you need to make sure you select the appropriate alignment, and then if it has a sample group, then you should be good. You click on OK. Now this should be the box you see. This dialog box, it says compute materials. So under quantity takeoff criteria, leave that at cut and fill. And then the volume calculation method, using the average end area. Now, the surfaces that you're going to be using. So you have two types. You have your EG, which is your existing ground, and then your datum, which is, well, whatever you'll be placing on there, or so your road, basically your road corridor. So what you can do is for EG, instead of clicking here or here, you're more than welcome to select all. Why aren't my surfaces showing? Okay, give me a second. So I have just figured out as to why my surfaces aren't showing on the materials list. And there's a step we need to do, and this is regarding the sample lines. So if you click on one of your sample lines over here, if you go here to your sample more sources, once you click this, now you'll see that over here it shows your section sources. So that's the sample line group, alignment name, and for previous, so it says for previous sample sources, only stations at which sections are not present will be sampled settings as displayed below. So what we need to sample is this corridor right here. Now, here we just have a basic style, but what needs to be done is the available sources, so our corridor needs to be shifted to sample so that you can be able to sample everything. So I'm gonna add that there, and then this should be fine. I'm gonna leave this here so we won't use this as part of our cut and fill. And we're just gonna apply and give it a bit of time and then click on OK. Now that that's done, let's see if we're now able to compute our materials. So you can just go to compute materials over here. Then, so let's go back to this. So this is the alignment. We selected the wrong alignment as well. So this is our alignment sending to success. There's the sample line group. We click on OK. And then let's see how it looks now. There we go. So these are all the corridors available. So our EG is our existing ground, so our natural ground line, and then our datum, which is our corridor surface, so SRS corridor redesign. Just make sure that this is on cut and fill again, and make sure this is on average end area. You click on OK. Let's compute the materials, and then that is done. But we are nearly there. Only a few more steps to do. Then we are good to go. So we need to then now generate our total volumes table. So how you do it is just make sure you're still on analyze, and then under here, so under volume report, let's start by generating our total volume table, right? So total volume table. So our table style will be cut and fill. You need to select the correct alignment. And then as you can see, what happens is instead of selecting the material list manually, the material list assigned to that specific alignment will appear automatically. So for this, there's no materials list. But if I select this one instead, which is this one, yes, then you'll see that the material list automatically appears. If you have more than one, then you have to choose. So but it's best to have one for that specific alignment. Split table, it splits the table into manageable rows. You can do this if you have too many sample lines, but I'm just gonna uncheck this. And then the behavior of your table. So dynamic behavior means if you were to change any values within your corridor, let's say you shift some sample lines, the table will be affected. So the values they will change. If you leave this on static, that means whatever you place on your drawing, that will be it. That it'll not change regardless of the changes you make on your drawing. So leave it on dynamic. We click on OK, and then on your screen it asks for your left hand side, or your left upper left corner. Let's click it here. And as you can see, this is our cut and fill, our total volumes table. So what you're looking at right now is the fill and cut, the cut and fill area, cut and fill volumes, and then the cumulative values on the far right. And yeah, this is basically it. So this is the table. Um, there's actually another way you can obtain this table is if you were to go to your volume report. So right above total volume table is a volume report. You can click on that, and then so you want to select the alignment that you're working with. Just again, the material list will appear, so just ensure that this happens, and then select a sheet style. Uh, so you can leave this over here, or you can choose a folder where you wanna place your cannot place my mistake. So this asks for a sheet style. You can leave this as is. Then tick on display XML report. So this will generate an XML report. And then once you're happy, you click on OK. On my end, this will take quite a bit of time to load, but essentially it will open a web browser and just show you the more or less the very same table that you're looking at on your drawing right now. And then, yes, just like that, that has been your geometric design. So, yeah, 8 episodes, um, but a lot of concepts to grasp and capture. Um, I really do hope these videos uh, assist you during your project. And yeah, I've been seeing a little bit of engagement, so I'm very thankful for that. Okay, so this is the browser. Let's see if it's gonna load the um, the XML and see what it gives us.
One eternity later.
Just this loading might take up the whole 30 minutes. Hang on. Yeah, we're 9 minutes in, we still haven't loaded. That's crazy. But anywho, we'll wait for that to load. As I was still talking about um the end of the playlist. Um Again, thank you so much for engaging with the videos and watching. And yeah, I see joy. I experience a sense of joy whenever I see that someone has watched and is taking the time to look at what I've offered, and hopefully you're practicing, and I hope this does you justice. Again, junior project, and I hope you produce the best of results. And yeah, that has been it. So we've done pretty much everything from surface creation to our alignments to our cross sections to corridors, intersections, roundabouts, section views, and last but definitely not least, oh, I did not mention super elevation and the cut and fill calculations. So this has been quite the ride. Um, yeah, I myself with a lot to do as well, and oh yeah, though I'm not perfect, especially when it comes to these videos, as long as they are, I talk a lot, but I'm just glad you stuck around and got to experience all of this. So a big thank you. Um, so I'm gonna have to end it here. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Um, have a wonderful or enjoy your project. Produce the best results possible, and yeah, when you meet again, or till we meet again. As you can see, the time I'm recording at is not the best.